Bonsoir,
Good
bienvenue
evening and welcome to this public meeting of dated March 11th. This is a special edition with your Deputy Mayor presiding. So I'll begin by saying the City of Dieppe recognizes that the land on which it operates is part of the unceded traditional ancestral lands of the Mi'kmaq. And dear colleagues, let's have the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I call this meeting to order. Confirmation of quorum by clerk. Yes, we have the quorum. And Councillor Godbout is participating remotely as well. All right, for point 5, have we received any conflicts of interest? Any declarations of conflict? No? All right. Adoption of agenda. Who would like to make a motion? Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Turgeon-Roy. Item 7, presentations, inquiries, and petitions. Inquiries by council members, Kodiak Regional RCMP. So with us tonight is Inspector Chantal Arsenault-Farah. And I will turn your mic on. Go ahead. Good evening, Your Worship and councillors. Tonight, I'm just going to take a few moments to remind the public to take the time to look at the photos that we publish, especially for people who are missing or when we're asking for help from the public to identify suspects. So for example, this evening here in Dieppe on February 25th, between 4 and 4:15, there was a theft in a business on Paul Street, and somebody stole a number of pieces of jewelry. And if you go onto our website, you'll see pictures of those items that were stolen, and you'll see color pictures of the suspect. So if you know them, you'll be able to identify them. So I would ask people to do that. And we do this quite often. We can't do this with every crime, but we try to look at the quality of the images and the type of crime, and we try to post the pictures so we can get help from the public. My second item is simply to remind people to take precautions, to protect your possessions, to minimize risk of having them stolen. So for example, we keep seeing cases of stolen vehicles in the region and throughout Canada as well. It's not just a problem here, it's happening elsewhere. But I can tell you that in our region, in most cases, the keys were in the vehicle, or the car was running and people had just stepped out, and in some cases just for a few seconds. So it really doesn't take a lot of time. There are thefts in the downtown area, but there's no area that's safe. And, you know, we see thefts taking in rural places as well. Something else that we're seeing online with stolen vehicles is that there are license plates being stolen. Now, we don't usually look at our license plates when we get in our car, but I would encourage you to do so. So learn what your license plate looks like and take note. So sometimes thieves will take a white Hyundai Accent and they'll find another and they'll find another car that's similar and they'll reverse the license plate. And you don't know, so you're driving what you think your own vehicle, but you have the license plate from somebody else. And then they have your license plate on the stolen vehicle. So you can see kind of what problems that cause for us. Now, we're very aware of that technique, that theft technique. So we look at cars and vehicles in detail when we check them. But this is something that we can all do. Know what your license plate is. And if you ever see that you have the wrong license plate, report it immediately and we'll try to deal with it. So that's all for me tonight. If you have any questions, I'm available. Thank you for that information. Are there any questions from councillors? Councillor Brideau, rather. Thank you, Your Deputy Worship. Now, all right, I have a question on the license plates. At the detachment here, do you have in the police car, do you have equipment that can detect license plate or read license plate? I saw it in Edmonton. So it's a machine or a device that's in the car, and it detects the license plate number, and automatically the police officer knows. You mean it reads the license plate without the officer having to do anything? Yes, it's done by computer. Well, we do have computers in our cars, but we have to enter the numbers, and that's what we have right now. We don't have a machine that automatically checks license plates. We have to look at the car and manually check the number, or we'll call it on the radio, and our operators will check the number. Okay, I had seen this in Edmonton, and I was just curious to know if this is something that we did here. So it's a license plate detector. It's kind of like a radar. It looks at it scans the information, and it's all automatic. So the officer who's driving knows whether the license plate has been stolen or not, or who the owner of the vehicle is. Okay, well, I'll find out. We don't have that, no. All right, thank you. Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Deputy Worship. I just want to say, now in the last couple of months, I see a lot of cars running red lights. You know, they're in a hurry and they go right through a red light. So I'd like you to take, to kind of monitor that, because it's a problem. I also have citizens that have told me that there's a lot of speed on Melançon, a lot of speeding rather. And I'm just wondering if you can patrol that area from time to time. So is it typically in the morning and the supper time? No, they didn't really specify the time. Well, I can tell you that last year, I had told you about some of the operations that we were conducting. And unfortunately, it was people living in the neighborhood that were rushing to the day to bring their kid to daycare. And, in school zones, the time speed limit goes to 30. And we had issued dozens of tickets. It was a real problem. So we had communicated the message, and we can do that activity again. But we have to tell our neighbors. Usually, it's people in the neighborhood. But I'll note that down. But we've been saying for a long time for people to slow down when the light turns yellow. But we have to be on site to see that happening to be able to stop those people. But you're right, we're not always there. Well, I've even seen a school bus going through a red light. Okay, well that would be good if you can get the number and report it to the district. They have even more teeth than we do. Now, I don't know if it was the Francophone district or the Anglophone district, but okay, well, I've made a note of it, and I will pass on the message to the patrollers. Great, thank you. I don't see any other questions. So last call, no questions from councillors. All right, well, thank you for being here tonight and for all the information that you have provided. Now, we understand if you don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting. You have a lot of important things to do in the community, so thank you for being there, and have a nice evening. All right. Item number 8, questions by members of the public. Are there any questions from members of the public tonight? No? Did we receive any questions? Inaudible. Oh, it was something for the City of Moncton, so we referred it to the City of Moncton. All right, next item. Adoption of minutes. Regular council meeting held on February 26, 2024. Do I have someone to present the motion? Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Leboutier. Item 10, motions and nominations. 10.1, community development. 10.1.1, signing authority. Oh, sorry. Okay, so yes, we have to vote on the adoption of the minutes. All right. did somebody present the motion? Okay, yes, that was done. All right. We had a motion and a seconder. It's been adopted. All right, so community development, signing authority, partnership agreement, pro kids. All right, thank you, Councillor Janet. So you have before you a signing authority for PRO Kids. PRO has been with us since 2008, so they've been with us for a number of years, and they do excellent work. They ensure that young people can participate in sports and cultural activities, social activities. So here we're talking about a partnership agreement so that they can hire someone. Before we had they had part-time person, but in the strategic plan, we wanted to have somebody full-time. So that aligns with our strategic plan, and we want to encourage community development. So it really kind of fits in with our vision for the city. And the village of Memramcook is a partner as well, so they make a contribution. So we understand that the organization is going to try to get a few more organizations or communities involved. So our contribution this year will be the same as last year, and we recommend that you pass this motion. All right, who would like to read the resolution? Councillor Lantin, please. Thank you. That council accept the partnership agreement between the City of Dieppe and Pro Jeunesse Dieppe Pro Kids Inc. for the period beginning on March 12th, 2024, moved by Councillor Lantin, seconded by Councillor Godette. On the question. Question, Councillor Godbout. Go ahead. Yeah, I just have a question. Is there an indemnification clause when we have agreements like this? Mr. Leblanc or Mr. Richard, can you answer that? Could you repeat the question, Councillor Godbout? Yeah, in our agreements, this type of agreement, do we usually include an indemnification clause for situations? So if we have, for questions of liability, I know that there's an insurance clause, but I don't know if we have an indemnification clause. Is that something that's usually included? Well, it depends often on the risk as well. And with pro youth, there's less of a risk. So for higher risk agreements, we put a clause like that in. But in this case, if they use our facilities, they will have insurance. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but yeah, okay. I was just asking the question because I was thinking about this. One of the risks I was thinking was leaks of information. They receive a lot of information that's personal in nature, and there are clauses that talk about the protection of that information. But if information is leaked, that can involve liability. So I just wanted to know if that's something that you took into consideration in your decision not to include an indemnification clause. Well, we have a confidentiality agreement that would protect the municipality in the event of an issue. Okay, well, thank you for the clarification. That answers my question. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your answer as well. Are there any other questions from councillors? No? All right. Moved by Councillor Lantin, seconded by Councillor Godette. On the question, those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Next item, 10.2. Engineering, 10.2.1, additional fees engineering, architectural, and project management services, relocation, the 6th Gauvin residence. Mr. Melançon. All right, as you know, we've been working on this file for a number, for quite a while on Melançon Road. So we did the rezoning, so everything's in place to accommodate the construction. But in the meantime, the province, through its housing strategy, we've had discussion to create a second building of 10 units. So that's what's on the table here. We want to finalize the plans and the estimates, and this is to give additional costs to two consultants, so ProDev consultants for management services, and then there's also architectural plans and engineering plans rather, with Cube Architecture for $65,000. So that would allow us to complete the plans and estimates and the project management of this initiative. All right, who would like to read the resolution? Councillor Turgeon-Roy, please. Thank you. That Council authorize an additional amount of $50,000 plus HST to ProDev Consultants, Inc. for management services for the relocation of 6th Gauvin Residence project, and further authorize that this expenditure be defrayed from account number 3-3-35-58-7674, General Capital Budget Relocation, 6th Gauvin Residence, and that Council authorize an additional amount of $65,000 plus HST to Cube Architecture for architecture and engineering services for the relocation of 6th Gauvin Residence project, and further authorize that this expenditure be defrayed from account number 3-3-35-58-7674, General Capital Budget, 6th Gauvin Residence. So moved. Moved by Councillor Turgeon-Roy, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question. I see no questions. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion passes unanimously. All right, next item, 10.2.2, Engineering Services, Dieppe Boulevard Extension. Mr. Melançon. All right, well, following the announcement in January of this extension of Dieppe Boulevard, engineering services are required. So we launched an RFP and to go and get those services. So two bids were received. And the one that we're recommending is EXP Services at the cost of $928,500 plus HST. So following an assessment with the 5 criteria, this was the bidder that had the most points. All right, who would like to read the resolution? Councillor Lebouty, please. All right, thank you. That Council award the tender for the project entitled Engineering Services, Dieppe Boulevard Extension, to EXP Services, Inc. at the cost of $928,500 plus HST, pursuant to its proposal dated February 14th, 2024, and authorize this expenditure be defrayed from account number 3-3-35-58-7673, General Capital Budget, Extension Dieppe Boulevard, and account number 4-3-90-58-7673, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, Extension Dieppe Boulevard. Moved by Councillor Lebouty, seconded by Councillor Brideau. On the question. No questions. All right. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Next item, 10.3 Planning and Development, 10.3.1 PAC Recommendation Zoning Bylaw, Text Amendments, CM Zone, Mini Storage Warehouse Use.
Following the rezoning application, we received a request to build a mini warehouse, storage warehouse in the mixed CM zone, commercial mixed. The PAC, the Planning Advisory Committee, recommended that council accept this recommendation and there under certain terms and conditions. And so we recommend that you approve this according to PAC recommendation. Who would like to read it? Councillor Thibodeau? Thank you, Ms. Deputy Mayor. That council accept the recommendation made by the Planning Advisory Committee on February 21st, 2024, regarding a request for text amendments to zoning bylaw Z-10, 2021, in order to allow the development of mini storage warehouses within the commercial mixed zone and in accordance with certain predetermined provisions incorporated in said zoning bylaw, and that council proceed with first and second readings of bylaw Z-10, 2021-11. And I so move it, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Godette. On the question? No questions, so it's very clear. So all those in favor of the resolution will signify by saying yes. Contrary, nay. So it's carried unanimously. And then we have 10.3.2, a recommendation from the PAC, the tentative plan for Bourg subdivision. In this case, you have a subdivision application at the corner of Bourg and Melançon streets. And so they need a land for public purposes, but according the PAC recommends that they take $12,000 in lieu of lands for public purposes, $12,902.06, in fact, in lieu of land for public services, because there's already open areas in the area. And so there was no need for a public lands for public purposes on Bourg Road right there. So that was the PAC recommendation and supported by staff. Who would like to read the recommendation? Councillor Lantagne. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. That council accept the Planning Advisory Committee's recommendation relating to the acceptance of the Bourg subdivision tentative plan, and further accept that the developer pay the amount of $12,902.06 in lieu of lands for public purposes, which represents 8% of the market value of said subdivision land, and I so move it. Been moved by Councillor Lantagne, seconded by Councillor Leboutillier. On the question? Councillor Godbout. Thank you. I just wanted to confirm how you had established the market value of the land. Mr. Girard? Thank you for your question. The lot was assessed by a professional evaluator. The number of the report is indicated on page 102 of the report, along with the date of January 22nd, 2024. So it was done by a professional. And when you request the use of a professional evaluator, do they take into consideration the value of the land once it's been subdivided? No, we always use the value of the land as at the time. We don't calculate the future value, if I understand correctly. They assess it the way it is in its natural state. Thank you. I still maintain my objection to this approach. I think we should review this, but I have no problem with what is being proposed here today. Thank you, and thank you for your comments. Now, there are questions from Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. There's a brook or a creek. Does it cut through the property or just to the edge? It's not very clear on the drawing here. There's a creek that it follows the eastern side of the lot on the back of the lot. So there's a fairly steep slope there as well. So they're going to respect the 30 meters. Yes, they're subject to provincial regulations. Thank you. Thank you for those details. I don't see any other questions from councillors. So it was moved by Councillor Lantin, seconded by Councillor Le Boutillier. On the question, all those in favor will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. One no is recorded for Councillor Godbout. Thank you. And just on the principle of the value of the property. Thank you. And now we move to municipal bylaws. 11.1, zoning bylaw Z10 2021-11, a bylaw to amend the city of Dieppe zoning bylaw mini storage warehouse use. Yes, this was already discussed and approved at 10.3. So now we just need to read the bylaws by title only to start the process of adoption of the bylaw. Who would like to read it? Councillor Brideau, title only. Turn on your microphone. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Bylaw Z-10 2021-11, a bylaw to amend the City of Dieppe zoning bylaw, and I so move it in first reading by title only. Thank you. It's been moved by title only in first reading by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question, no questions. So all those in favor will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It's carried. And for second reading, Councillor Brideau. Thank you. Bylaw Z-10 2021-11, a bylaw to amend the City of Dieppe zoning bylaw, and I so move it in second reading by title only. Thank you. It's been moved in second reading by title only by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question? No questions. So all those in favor will signify by saying yes. Opposed, nay. It's carried in second reading. And we now move on to notices of motion. Did we receive any notices of motion? No. So we move on to inquiries and announcements by members of council. Now you'll have to remind me of the order. Where do we start? Okay, we'll start over here. Councillor Godet, do you have anything for this evening? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just have one citizen who called me about the Rotary Park. There's a shuffleboard court there. I don't know the term in French, but this gentleman told me that the courts were not in good state at all. They'd like to know if the city plans on at least fixing one or two of the shuffleboard courts to allow people to play. I don't know if it's already been reported, or perhaps you could tell this person to call the recreation department, because perhaps there are repairs to be done, but we want to make sure that if we invest money in the facilities that they are going to be used. And we saw that there was perhaps less activity. It hadn't been very popular, well, since COVID anyhow. So we'd invite the person to to contact Denis or a member of the team, and to see if there is a renewal in the interest, and then we'll see if we can make sure that the courts are appropriate and in condition to play. Yeah, that's it. It would be nice to have helpful to have a list of names that people can contact. He said, they don't need all six of them, but if two of the boards are in condition to play. Well, if we know that there's interest, we can plan better, whether it's, one, two, three, or four of them. Yeah, let's start by the base, and let's make sure we have participants, and then we'll work on the facilities. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Le Boutier. Thank you. I have nothing this evening. Thank you. Councillor Brideau. I have nothing this evening. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Councillor Thibodeau. It's going to be very quick this evening. I don't have anything either. Thank you. Councillor Turgeon-Roy. Thank you. Well, I'm going to break that trend. I wanted to talk about the second version of the recognition gala of Les Chalins. It's coming up, and the limit for nominations is on Wednesday, March 20th. The gala is in order to recognize our volunteers in the community, and I would encourage people to please participate. So Wednesday, March 20th, the details are on the website, but I just wanted to promote it because it's very important for our volunteers. Thank you, and thank you for the reminder. It is important. Councillor Godbout. No, I have nothing this evening. Thank you. Have a great one. Thank you. Good evening to you too. Councillor Lantin. No, nothing this evening for me either. Okay, nothing here either. Well, I had a brief message. I'd like to congratulate the Centre of Arts and Culture for having welcomed the Happy Hour Club, as well as the organizers of the event that came for the International Day for the Rights of Women. And it was a very pleasant activity. We were able to network with some extraordinary women from all sorts of different sectors. It was a great recognition. And this afternoon as well, there was a conference, a press conference at the press club rather, of the Arab culture, and that was also at the Dieppe Arts and Culture Club. So they propose a really interesting programming. So I would encourage you to visit the program for the festival for the month of Arab heritage. There's going to be exhibitions of calligraphy, different dance workshops. There's going to be the Arab Orchestra, the Canadian Arabic Orchestra that is going to be coming to New Brunswick for the very first time. And yeah, so just please check the program. And I had no other messages to share with you this evening. So I'd like to wish you a very good one and thank you for your participation in this evening's meeting. Thank you.